Good day. It's a rather dark and dank Monday afternoon, and I've just been pottering. We had 2 troughs of garlic here, one which is doing relatively well, the other wasn't, and I decided these iris were better placed there than the garlic that wasn't doing well. So the garlic that wasn't doing well, I've removed the cloves, and they didn't look particularly healthy even though it had decent roots. So I put those in the compost and emptied the trough in here, and I've also emptied into here the trough from the sweet peas that didn't do well for us, the overwintering sweet peas. So yeah, plenty of worms in there, and even though that's not really truly spent compost, because it's pretty good compost because it was fresh compost last year, I'm just going to rake that over the surface, because this is going to be where we're going to put carrots and parsnips in the weeks to come. And I've also put further of the iris up here because I thought it'd be quite nice to have iris here. Over there we only had 1 daffodil in the back trough this year, but you can see tulips and iris coming up in the front trough. I'm just going to be pottering the rest of the afternoon, mulling where this hydrangea is going to go. I sort of want it here. Maybe I could rearrange the troughs further to the forward. Not further to the forward, I can't speak today. Further forward and put it at the back. Or maybe actually now the daffodils are dying back, even though so many of them have come up blind. Yeah, I think that's the name of the game. I'm just sort of rearranging. That's what I'm doing. I'm rearranging. But it's yeah, it's really pretty grey afternoon. I'm going to be taking some of that Portuguese cabbage back home. Richard wants to have some more this evening. That's sort of doing pretty well, actually. I mean, our brassicas are doing generally well, even if in there they're already going to seed. You can see, well, if we go over there you'll be able to see coming to flower. There's a fly in there or something, not surprisingly. So I think these need to be uncovered and just let to be oh, I can't speak. Let to be food for bees. That's what I was going to try and say. Our garlic, that is doing well. That's remaining pretty good. But even with them, there's a bit of, let me just cross over this bed. You can see yellowing on the tips. That I think is just the wet, cold weather we've had. You know, they all look pretty strong. If I look along the rows, they're all about 14 to 18 inches high and look pretty good. But yeah, a lot of yellowing on the tips. Maybe it needs further nutrients as well. Though this was pretty decent compost that was put on top. Anyway, I'll have to look that up. But we do have many signs of spring. The cardoon is beginning to go for it, looking rather majestic and silvery already. A early blueberry that we've got, can you see that? It's already flowering. Those little sort of trumpets of flower up here as well. Though I've noticed that there's a dead bit here. I think all of this branch down to there is dead. And then some growth coming on this later variety, which I think is blue crop. And then this one here, oh no, it died back last year and really seems to be struggling this year. There's new growth there and here. There's some new growth coming up here. But I think I'm going to cut this one here right down to the bottom and just leave this go. And of course, spring has sprung when the nettles start going. So plenty of nettle fertilizer to be made. And then when you make fertilizer, always make sure to shake things, because we don't want to put that ladybird into anything that we're going to seal off so that it can rot down. This apple is budding up a little bit as well, which is great. This is the back left hand side up here. As we come around the corner, we've got this cherry, dwarf cherry, that is looking rather lovely. Signs of spring, signs of spring. And also, if we come over here, of course I can now get through this area as if to prove a point. Back to our winter honeysuckle, and look, can you see the flowers that will be coming out? And the growth areas are really sort of got lots of flowers coming. I come down here, you see those flowers there as well. But I'm just going to sort of potter for the rest of the day, just sort of trimming things back a bit and making them a bit tidier. It's a bit wet for doing work such as weeding beds. So yeah, I'm just going to do some pottering and do some harvesting, and I'll see you in a day or so. See you very soon. Bye. Good day. Gosh, it's been a busy week with For Earth's Sake. And I was hoping to get down here much earlier today, but I had things that I had to do at my desk, and then I had potatoes that were going to be arriving, so I wanted to be at home to get those, and they didn't arrive till 4 o'clock. Then I had to do something else, so I left at 4:30. It took me about 25 minutes to get down here because of the people that I met on the way. And now the heavens have opened. Oh. Honestly, it's been another week of rain. It really has. On Wednesday, it was really quite heavy rain, and the weekend was heavy rain. The ground is still pretty sodden, so we've cancelled a work party tomorrow and moved it back a week. Obviously the polytunnel, you hear more of the rain in the polytunnel than you might outside, but yeah, it's wet. It's wet. It's about 5 o'clock now. Richard's most probably passing behind me going home, as I record this. I've just sent him a message to say I'll be home in about by about 6, but I don't know. I think it may continue to be a bit showery. Yeah. Anyway, hey ho. Oh, it's letting up, isn't it? It's letting up, but everything is so wet. That's why we can't do work, because wherever we'll be doing work as part of a work party with, you know, 4 or 5 people working at one particular area of the site at a time, the ground would get really trodden down, and as it's muddy, that just wouldn't do the site any good, and we might have people tripping. So, you know, you need to think about all of these things. Yeah, there we are. Let's have a quick look at the broad beans that are to my left. These at the front continue to do better than their compatriots here. Those are Claudia Aquadulce trays. And then at the back here, the Karmazin broad beans are really quite slow and considerably more spindly. I guess these are a bit spindly. These are Claudia Aquadulce. I don't know, they just feel a little, well, they don't feel because I haven't touched them, but they look a bit more spindly. They certainly are taking their time. Mind you, look, so some of these, you know, their germination there, a bit of ground heave there. If I do that, you can see. And what I mean by ground heave, somebody did ask me about this, is as a seed germinates, it pushes the soil, the compost up, and you can most probably see there is some germination coming here. There's a little crack in the surface of the compost, and that's because, as with this one and this one here, the seed, as it grows, the shoot pushes the soil up. Here you can literally see how here the soil has been pushed up. That feels a little bit crisp, so maybe it's time to give these a little water. But I can see, look, there's some blackening at the tips there. That's frost, or that's cold certainly, but generally they're looking okay. Gosh, it came in and then it's just stopped again, but it's still heavy drizzle out there. Let's see if we can get into the greenhouse. Well, we can get into the greenhouse, but let's see if we can get into the greenhouse without any rain going on the lens. Well, so this is, what is that? This is Brussels sprouts here. No germination in there whatsoever. Goodness gracious me. Then kale, dazzling blue here. And there are then our own save seed at the back of the hybrid dazzling blue kale and Portuguese cabbage. And then over here, gazanias, outrageous lettuce, and again our own save seed of lettuce at the back. But you know what? I'm really surprised to see no Brussels sprouts having germinated, and this is commercially bought seed. That is very odd. You may not be able to see sort of quite so clearly because of the perlite, the white, but I can't see any germination in the front here whatsoever, which I'm surprised by. Is that a little bit? No. Gosh. I really am surprised to see no germination in those Brussels sprouts. I find that brassicas are a seed which, you know, are always willing to get going, and I've always said that they're some of the easiest plants or seeds to sow, to get plants for people to try. And yeah, I'm really surprised there's no sign of germination there. And that was seed that I bought at the back end of last year, I think. I mean, I'm already thinking, is that duff seed? You know, some of you might say, well, actually it's not, you know, it's not been very long, it's been less than a week since you sowed them, and you'd be right, but still I would expect to see some movement in that soil, like we were talking about ground heave here. You know, I mean, even if it was a minuscule amount of ground heave, I'd expect to see some. And the compost over there, because it's had a lid on top, there's no sort of caking of the soil as we saw in the one where it sort of leveraged that slab of compost up. So is it duff seed? I'd be very, very surprised. It's a company that I have bought from many times before and never had any issue with their seed, but I don't know. I think I might sow some more, you know. And yes, the temperature, you know, has been quite varied over the last week of those being sown. So we've had quite warm days. It's maybe been 16 degrees in the polytunnel, if not a bit more. But we've also had nights where it's gone down to you know, even freezing potentially, as we saw with the frost burn on the broad beans. I really am, yeah, I'm a bit dumbfounded. Anyway, I just popped down to get out of the house really and bring the potatoes down, which are Charlotte potatoes. I've bought them online. I don't normally do that. I normally well, I do normally do that, but I do often do that, but sometimes I buy them at a garden centre, and I'm meant to go to a garden centre and get them, and I wanted to go to a potato day and hopefully get a variety of different seed potatoes to grow, you know, several varieties of potato. But time and tide, and it just didn't allow it this time, didn't allow it. And now the sun is out and glorious, as you can see. This is most probably lightened up quite a bit. You can see the sun there, or you can see it on my hand, look. But it's still drizzling, Anyway, look, I came down just to get out of the house and bring those Charlotte potatoes down, and hopefully we will get those in sometime over the weekend. Dad always used to try and get his potatoes in on St. Patrick's Day, which I believe is Sunday. Is it? Yes, it's Sunday. So maybe we'll do that on Sunday, or maybe we'll do it tomorrow, or maybe we'll do it next week. Anyway, Paul, stop waffling. And George has just appeared again with his friend Johnny Longlegs. They're walking up the path, or were walking up the path. They sort of keep their distance from each other. So George is the ginger cat that we saw last week, and Johnny Longlegs is a sort of tabby who I think we saw maybe at some point last year. So yeah, anyway, waffling. I'm going to go. See you very soon. Bye. Good day. It's Saturday afternoon, and I'm just going to give this area another forking over and then get the Charlotte potatoes in, and then sort of keep on top of any weeding. I've noticed a fox has been digging here. Not unusual, get quite a lot of foxes, as you know. But yeah, I'm just going to crack on and do that. And I'm noticing, I'm not sure if you can see, let me bring this down, the winter honeysuckle has started flowering. which is lovely, and there's sort of more to come there. Anyway, yes, crack on, Paul. And once I've fought this all over again, I'll lay out the Charlotte potatoes and then you can see what I'm doing. Here are Charlotte seed potatoes, some bigger ones at the back. I would sometimes cut that in two, but actually we haven't got a huge bed here, so I'm not going to. I think some of these will be left over and we will plant them into tubs because I've got plenty of compost. But you can see they range sort of in sizes from sort of relatively big to a few of the sort of more tiddly ones here. Ideally that type of size fitting across your 4 fingers is fabulous. So that one a little bit smaller, that one quite a bit bigger, and if you did want to cut this in half to make 2, you just cut it down the center. Yeah, my dad used to just cut them down the center and then let them dry out for a day and then plant. But as he got older, he didn't do that. He just cut it down the center and planted. But if you want to let the wound heal for a day, please do. Right, I'm going to space these out now. That's our potatoes in, our Charlottes, which are second earlies. So if you want to look up, there's various different potatoes, early, mid-season and lates, and within that there's sort of various times when some mature quicker than others as well. So it's always good to look at the variety. Charlotte is a good salad potato, so yeah, hoping that they will do well. And these are where we have asparagus tubs, so they are going to get a mulch pretty soon. And I'm not sure if I got it on camera, but I did give this a really good fork over again before I placed out the potatoes and then planted them, and I'm glad I did. Another maybe third of a bucket of bindweed roots there. You know, we know there is bindweed in here because it's prolific under there. So I do have some more. Here they are. This was the one remaining that we had in the bowl that I showed you, and then these have all been cut in half, or these 3 have been cut in half, and they're going to go into 30-litre tubs. You can see I've got 2 here with 2 trays, and I will put 4 into one pot and 3 into another pot. I'm doing this because, as you know, we were gifted quite a bit of compost at the back end of the last year. So I have compost to do this. If I didn't, I'd most probably be trying to find a bed to put them in or be gifting them. So yeah, there we are. So I got these from Taylor's, no promotion, but that's where I got them. They came very swiftly, having ordered them online. And yeah, you can see second early Charlotte. Oh, but yes, gosh, this area has really improved, and this bed has been fully reclaimed and planted up, which is great. I'm not sure where I'm going to put the tubs. I thought I might put the tubs of potatoes, just 2 here. They're not going to interfere with the wildlife area too much. And then as I'm in this shot, that's another bed that needs to be forked over, and maybe we'll get onto that next week. But I think next week is going to be quite a bit of seed sowing too. Yes, next week is going to be a week of sowing seed, I think. Certainly tomatoes, cucumbers, squash, courgettes, and maybe also some more salad crops as well. It feels as though everything is sort of coming together, and as though I'm at the right time for the plot, for the seeds that need to be sown, for the things that are growing, and also for myself. And as you've heard me say before, there are 3 times when it's good to do something. Firstly, when it's good for you. Secondly, when it's good for whatever you're going to be doing, whether it be pruning roses or putting in potatoes. And thirdly, if you can get this is fantastic, when it's good for you and good for whatever you're going to be doing. So yes, this year I feel more on top of the plot, more prepared for the months ahead, and yeah, feeling quite bright actually about things. Down here anyway. Well, I mean, generally, I mean, you know, there are so many horrible things going on in the world, and people hating other people and attacking other people. To just feel content in your own space and have headspace as well that this plot gives me and what I do here in balance with what is going on around the world, I think that is quite an achievement. Anyway, yes, there we are. Whatever is happening in your garden, your growing space, or your allotment, I hope you are finding headspace to enjoy the time and the space. And if you've got any comments or questions, please do leave them down below. The potatoes, by the way, were planted about 8, 10, in some cases maybe even a foot deep. It's just the way I do them. If you want to do them in rows and drills and things like that, please do. But it's not the way I do them anymore, and haven't done for very, very many decades, really. I think I did try them at the community gardens in rows and drills, but yeah, no, I gave up quickly. Anyway, I'm going to give up this week's A Week at the Plot now, and wish you well. As I say, any comments, any questions, please do leave them down below. Please give this a thumbs up if you've got to the end. Hopefully you've given it a thumbs up even if you haven't got to the end. And of course, bananas, bananas, bananas. See you very soon. Happy growing. Bye.